नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी निधि नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादे पाश्चात्यदेशधारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा. Welcome all of you to our daily Bhagavad Gita reading session. We are reading Bhagavad Gita as it is by His Divine Grace, Abhay Charanarvinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Yesterday we had read verse 2.18. Antabanta ime deha nitya suttah sharirina anasina prameyasya tasmad udhyasva bharata. What Krishna is speaking, the material body of the indestructible, immeasurable, and eternal living entity is sure to come to an end. Therefore, fight. O descendant of Bharata, O Arjuna, this material body is surely come to an end. This body belongs to some higher faculty. This higher faculty is the soul, which is indestructible, immeasurable, eternal. Apramasya, immeasurable. Eternal, Saswata, which is Nitya. Indestructible, which is Anasino. Nasino means destroyed. Anasina. Whereas the body is Antavanta ime deha. The material body is surely come to an end in some time. Therefore, you should not lament, Arjuna, neither for the body nor for the soul. Anyway, soul is not killed. Why do you lament? You may say, I lament for the body. Oh, whatever you do, you can never save the body forever. After some time, they will come to an end. So rather, you should not neglect your religious duty. We all have to understand the orientation, how Krishna is speaking about this, from which angle. You see, whenever we are in body, okay, so this section, Krishna is giving the knowledge of body and soul. Why is it important? Why is it important? Because first we should have the proper knowledge. Then that knowledge will give rise to what should be our ultimate dharma. Suppose, you see, we all of us have some identity. And that identity gives rise to one particular responsibility or occupational duty or dharma. Okay, whatever you say. Suppose a father should act fatherly, a father should act according to his responsibility, according to his prescribed duty. So that is, then we can say that he is acting on the platform of dharma. And the same father have multiple role also. At home, his father, and he also is associated to some spiritual organization. He may be associated to some social organization, some political organization, or some educational organization, or he might be working or employed in some industrial organization. So all these different position or identity sets a different kind of responsibility for it. So the way we identify ourselves, to that way we will kind of held ourselves responsible for some particular dharma. But then, in spite of all this multiple identity, some identity which we prioritize or give more importance than others. So, like your individual identity associated to family, most likely in most of the time is said to be at higher priority. So while understanding this, so that's the reason identity is very important. Identity is very important. That's the reason Krishna first giving Arjuna his proper identity. Who are you actually? You should know who are you. Then, because Arjuna told that dharma sammudha cheta, karpanya dosa pahat savava prichami dharma sammudha cheta, yat shreya sannishitang bruhitan me sishyaste hangsadi mangtang prapanna. Nichitam bruhi. So please tell me which is certain for me. What is my proper duty? Because I am confused. Dharma sammudha. Yat shreya. What is shreya for me? Tell me, to fight or not fight? First, Krishna is first telling that who are you? Arjuna, please listen. Who are you actually? If you get to know who are you, then it will be very easy to decide. So that's the reason in the first section, he is giving the jnana, the knowledge of body and soul. Not necessarily that after reading these 20 verses, you will get to the platform of self-knowledge or Atma Jnana. Not true, because theory is input, a knowledge of input. But when you experiment in the laboratory, then you realize, then you practically experience. So that will come in practice. While practicing, somebody will get this realization of himself that yes, he is really a soul. But although we do not have a proper realization of it, but still that's the truth. Theoretically, we can understand and analyze in that platform. So input of knowledge will come to or will transform to output of realization. And what is in between is sadhana or practice. So what comes in sadhana? Like we are chanting the holy name of the Lord. So by chanting only, so we will come to a realization. We will come to a realization at some point in time in future that yes, really we are soul, we are not body. Now let's see what Krishna is speaking in next verse, 2.19. Ya enam veti hantaram yaschaina manyate hatam ubhau tau na bijanito nayam hanti na hanyate. You all can join with me in recitation. Ya enam veti hantaram
enam hantaram
yaschainam manyate hatam ubhau tau na bijanito nayam hanti na hanyate. Ya enam veti hantaram
य
एनं
एनं
वेति
वेत्तारम्
हन्तारम्
यश्चैनं मन्यते हतम्
यश्चैनं
यश्चैनं
मन्यते
हतम्
हतम्
उभौ तौ न विजानीतो
उभो
उभोतो
तौ
न
न
विजानीतो
विजानीतो
नायं हन्ति न हन्यते
नायं
नायं
हन्ति
हन्ति
न
न
हन्यते
हन्यते
वेरी गुड या एनं वेति हन्तारम्
य
य
एनं
एनं
वेति
वेति
हन्तारम्
हन्तारम्
यश्चैनं मन्यते हतम्
यश्चैनं
यश्चैनं
मन्यते
मन्यते
हतम्
हतम्
उभौ तौ न विजानीतो
उभो तो न
उभोतो न
विजानीतो
विजानीतो
नायं हन्ति न हन्यते
नायं
नायं
हन्ति
हन्ति
न
न
हन्यते
हन्यते
वेरी गुड वंडरफुल symptoms यह anyone who enam this veti knows hantaram the killer yah anyone who cha also enam this manyate things hatam kill ubhau both tau they na never be janitaha are in knowledge na never I am this hanti kills na nar anyate is killed. Translation: neither he who thinks the living entity the slayer nor he who thinks it slain is in knowledge. For the self slays not, nor is slain. What does it mean? Uh, this verse is talking of two kind of people. One kind of people who thinks the soul or the living entity the slayer. Slayer means he who kills. He who kills. So who thinks the soul is the killer? That is one type of group. Then other group of people, he who thinks it's slain, he who thinks the soul is killed. So that means two kind of people. One kind of people is thinking that soul is the killer, or another group of people they think the soul is killed. Both type of people are not in knowledge. They don't know. Because for the self, so that means for the soul, it cannot be slain or it doesn't slay. Nobody can slay the soul, or the soul cannot slay anyone. That's the meaning of this verse. Ya enam veti hantaram yaschainam manyate hatam ubhau tau na vijanito nayam hanti na hanyate. यह बेति एनम हंतारम यह बेति he who बेति means knows or think or conceptualize enam hantaram that soul enam is that soul hantaram hanta means to kill those who thinks the soul kills. Or another group of people, yaha manyate enam hatam. Yaha, those who manyate think enam hatam, the soul is killed. Ubhau, both the type of people, ubhau tau na be janito. Janito means no. Be janito, do not know. Both this group of people do not know what actually what they do not know. They do not know that na ayam hanti na hanyate. The soul does not kill or get killed. The soul does not kill anyone, or the soul is not killed also by anyone. Okay. Let's go to the purpose. When an embodied living entity is hurt by fatal weapons, it is to be known that the living entity within the body is not killed. You may ask how you can say that the soul is not killed, because we see people die. Yes, we do see that, but actually in that case the body is dying, the body is decomposing, but the soul is not really dying. The soul has left the body. That's the reason the body started decomposing. We just studied this one verse ago, before one verse. Okay. So when somebody is hurting another person by a fatal weapon, then basically he is hurting the body. The spirit soul is so small that it is impossible to kill him by any material weapon, because the spirit soul is spiritual in nature, and we had just studied satadha kesagra satabhagasya. So it is 1/10,000th part of the tip of hair. It is so small. How a material weapon can kill that tiny particle, which is spiritual in nature, as will be evident from subsequent verses. Nor is the living entity killable because of his spiritual constitution. Spiritual soul has nothing to do with the body, has nothing to do with the body. But he is trapped in this material body because we have discussed about this, because of his selfish enjoyment tendency. He wanted to enjoy independent of Krishna. That's the reason he is in this situation. Otherwise, he has no business with this body. What is killed or is supposed to be killed is the body only. So the soul staying in one's body, and when that person kills someone, actually the body is killing another body. So you may say that, so that means, does it give us license to kill? No, certainly not. Okay, that's true. The body is being killed and the body is killing. That doesn't mean, or that does not encourage that anyone kill anyone. No. Why? Because you understand why the soul is in this body. The soul is put in this body because of his own selfish enjoyment tendency. That's one. But then God accomplished two purposes in one thing only. So what is God's purpose? God has gifted this material body, that's true, but at the same time he gives facility in this body so that the soul can realize himself and go back to Godhead. Go back to him, back to Godhead. So that's the reason in this material body you might see so many facilities are given. Why? These facilities are given for just to realize that yes, I am the soul, I am not this body. So that means the soul's consciousness is in a continuous improvement process. So while someone is killing the body of someone, so that means he is checking the progress of a soul. He's checking the progress of a soul, because soul is now, yeah, the souls, to purify, it needs a body. While staying in that body, it is being purified. So that's the reason this body is so precious gift to us by the Supreme Lord. We have to take utmost care of this body. And also we make sure that we do not create any adverse situation for others also to live happily in their body. So that means when you are killing some body, so that means you are checking the progress of that soul residing in that particular body, which is not a good action. So that is against the will of the Lord or against the action of the Lord. Because who are you to check that process? You have not given that body to other soul. Neither you can create a body by yourself. So you have no right. That's the reason Vedic injunction is Ma himsyat sarvabhutani. Never commit violence to anyone. Nor does understanding that the living entity is not killed encourage animal slaughter. Oh, you may say, okay, perfect, understood, well said and done. We will not kill the human beings. But what about the animals? They are the lower living entities. Anyway, they will not get realization of their soul in that body. That body is useless. They do not have intelligence. They do not have the facilities like God has given in the human body. But you see, before coming to human body, we have stayed in 8.4 million species of the body. Why 8.4 million different type of body? Then we come to this stage. So that is also a part of spiritual evolution. First, it trapped into some particular body, let's say aquatic body, then advanced, okay, before that maybe the plant and trees body, then aquatic body, then animals, and after a various type of evolution, at last this human body is given. So animal's body is also useful to that particular soul to make progress. And in the next life, you will get another animal body of higher intelligence. Okay. So it is being said that just before the human birth, people were cow. So that those cows you are seeing in the street, all of them will be human being in their next life. So that's the reason it is very. So like you see, like in a project, if you do mistake, in the early stage of the project, if you do mistake, consequence is less. But during the very advanced stage of the project, if you do mistake, so that means the pilot production is happening or the first mass production batch is happening and you seem to have done a mistake, then the consequence will be high. Similarly, if you kill a mosquito, the level of the sin is certainly less as compared to someone is killing a human being. But both are sinful. Both are sinful. But the level of sin is more in case of killing of human being. So, and you see, just before human birth, the people were cow. So that's the reason killing cow is also a very abominable offense or a very critical offense in our Vedic civilization. killing the body of anyone without authority is abominable and is punishable by the law of the state as well as by the law of the Lord. Law of the Lord also punishes for those sinful activities. Then Arjuna, then here the confusion for the Arjuna would be, oh, then hey Krishna, how can I kill then? I'm saying the same thing. The sinful things will come upon me. But here you see, killing is allowed for a Kshatriya. Why? Because he is not whimsically killing. He is killing for what? For a religious principle. To give protection to the masses. You see, in your body, some part of the body got cancer. Then you might say, oh, how I can remove that portion of the body? This is violence. But no, my dear sir, if you will not remove that portion of the body, your whole body will vanish. Your whole body will be destroyed. So better please cut that portion of the body and remove so that you can save the rest of the body. So similarly, there are some people who are disturbances to the society. They make the life hell for millions and billions of people. So just to remove them, so that you can give better life to other souls to progress in their journey, it is bona fide. And you and me or somebody else cannot do that. A Kshatriya can do that. Because Kshatriya means Khyata Trayate iti Kshatriya. He who gives protection to this body and to this society or field, whatever you say. Okay? So in that case, killing is allowed. And in what other cases killing is allowed? You see, in the Vedic civilization, you might see that the kings are going to the forest and killing animals. Is it bona fide? Is it allowed? Yes, it is allowed. Why? Because, you see, practice is required. Unless a Kshatriya practice and see the blood and ascertain his ability, how can he will accomplish his duty at the time of need? No. If he has not seen the blood, how he can face that situation? You see, once my mother's knee, means my mother's knee is replaced, but before that we have gone through series of treatments. In one treatment, the doctor was pulling a lot of blood from the knee. I took my mother to that doctor, and when I saw that process, there only by seeing the blood in the syringe, many bloods he draws. By seeing the series of syringes, I got fainted. Nothing means nobody has told me, or I don't see that my mother is suffering a lot. No, just by seeing those bloods. So it is not that easy, A Kshatriya going into war and participating and seeing the field flooded with the bloods, it is never a easy situation. So for that he need to practice. So where he will practice? He goes to a jungle and kills the overpopulated animals. You see, overpopulated animal, you see most of the time kings goes to jungle to kill whom? To kill the deers. Here you see, any national park you go, you will see plenty of deers. The deers are excess in number. So for the practice of his ability, if he kills one or two deers, that particular act is bona fide. Because it is for a bigger purpose he is doing that. His motivation is not to kill the deer just to eat his flesh. No, king doesn't do that. And deer is a very fast moving animal. So a king can ultimately test his ability very well by that process. Or sometimes they kill tigers, very ferocious animals, because sometimes some of the ferocious animals like elephants, they come to the nearby civilized places and destroy the farming, or sometimes hunt the people, kills the people. So just to check that, those overpopulated ferocious animals, sometimes the king are allowed to kill. So in both the cases, and in another case, also killing is allowed, like the sacrifices. Now, in the Vedic days, the Brahmanas were very pure. You see, in the sacrifices, they used to kill the animals. Basically, it's not killing. By the mantras, they can give a new life to the soul. Suppose a soul like Ashwamedha Yajna, a animal who is at very advanced stage of his life, so very old age of his life. So those animals are being offered as the sacrifices in the yajnas. Why? Because just to check the yajna is successful or not. If a priest has performed yajna very piously, so then after they chop off the head of the horse, and then immediately the Brahmana awards a different body to that particular animal, and that body is advanced body. But nowadays, these kind of things are not allowed because Brahmanas are not so pure. They cannot have the ability to award a advanced body. No. So that's the reason this particular type of sacrifices of animals are also abominable in the age of Kali. So let us quickly see what all we have learned in. Yeah. So, okay, time is up. Sorry. Let's end our class today. So tomorrow we will do a quick recap of verse 16, 17, 18, 19 and go to verse number 20. 20th verse is very interesting and very important. We will see tomorrow. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Thank you all very much for your patientful